interview with McVay today, and I don't think he really knows what he's getting yet. So Jalen gets out there, but I don't think it's going to hurt them. But I don't think it's going to make the impact either that they're saying that it's going to make.
Well, let me give you some observations of what you said, because you gave me a mouthful there. So here's what my thoughts are. Number one, Tom Coughlin knew he wanted to hold out for 2 first-round picks and to get a 4th. I can just say one thing about the Rams, Bill. They got fleeced. They got hosed. They did. Now all Jacksonville has to do is to go out there and cash in on those picks. They definitely did. Okay? Wax, fleece, anybody out there that wants to give me a better adjective, feel free to contact me at www.southfloridatribune.com or southfloridatribune@gmail.com, however. And if you come up with a better word, do it. Okay? Now, I think the fact that Ramsey left the Jaguars on bad terms, he definitely certainly made sure that after that final game on Thursday night, that was his last game. If you're going to jeopardize a consecutive game streak to not play there, you definitely are making your point clear that you aren't. I mean, to give the guy credit, okay, he brought his wife into the equation, okay, to get him out of this situation. Why not use your child and your wife if you can do it? And he did go ahead and show up to those games. He got game checks, and even though it was a game-time decision not to play him, he still isn't stupid financially that at least went through the motions to make it look like it, and the Jaguars had to do what they had to do and just bide their time. So there's no question he didn't care if he was leaving on bad terms with the Jaguars. He wanted out of there anyways, and be careful what you ask for, because those income taxes in L.A. are a whole lot higher than the no state income tax and the lower taxes you have in Florida. That's for sure, Bill.
Well, no argument here, Scott. I will say this. They knew back last year they weren't going to extend his contract. I think that Jalen got to the point where he wants to reset the market. He's listening to his agents. The Rams are going to have an interesting situation at the end of the year because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
And then you're looking at, what do we do here? They'll probably sign him to a really good contract because he's that good. But, there's, like I said before, the pro football is the ultimate team game.
Right.
And you have to be firing on all phases of the game to win championships.
Right.
And there's a couple of teams right now that kind of got a glass jaw out there, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Rams.
Right.
They're not the same teams they were last year. And the reason for that is defensively, they're not playing as well as they were last year, and they're nicked up and you have injuries.
Right.
So what's going on now is we have a sport that over the years has morphed into entertainment. And you have guys now that are getting paid a lot of money, and they're losing the concept of team. And they're holding teams hostages.
Right.
And if I'm a player on the Jacksonville Jaguars, I would love Jalen, and I'm happy for any player that can get what he can get. There's a time and a place to be able to, what I call, make a contract demand. Don't sit out and hurt your team. Don't sit there and use your wife and claim you have a back injury. The National Football League, you play. If you're hurt, the rest of the guys are doing that as well. So it becomes a little political. And I'm never, I don't have an objection with a player asking for his money or creating a platform, but don't throw your entire team under a bus. Because you have other, when you're doing that. And that's the agent speaking.
Right.
I just going back to the Alliance, and I'm going to be frank with you. Well, I was talking to my people the other day who had their ear to the street, and we're just laughing at the fact that these players in the XFL actually think they need agents. And I'm sitting here going, what are you going to pay an agent for 4 to 6%? You have no leverage. You're going to be paid this amount of money. You're lucky to have an opportunity. Don't get greedy. Well, here you got a guy who has been drafted, has been making a really, really good living. Mm-hmm. Okay, but he has to do something like that in order to get his money.
Right.
And, I'm happy that he got his money, but, you're not gonna, I don't think you'll ever win a championship with guys like that. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I agree.
You have to give up yourself. You have to give up yourself, all right, and make yourself part of a squad, all right, which means you may have to play out of position. You may have to wait until the end of the year for your contract negotiations. Right. All right, but, I can only, that's what I'm viewing from the outside. And I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I just think the way he went about it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I kind of laughed when he pulled up to the beginning of training camp with a Brinks truck. It's time to get paid. You know, I mean, you know, what's really funny is I was talking to a couple of buddies of mine, and they sent a little thing out on Facebook. And right away, people jumped on it. Hater. He said, come on, why don't you just pay him in pennies? All right, and people got all upset about it. So this is the young generation coming in, right, not understanding what wins championships. All right, and, you know, like I said before, that pendulum is all the way to the right. All right, what I call all the way to the left right now, and it's got to come back towards the middle a little bit. In this case, the concept of team, spreading the wealth around a little bit. And I think Jacksonville has got a fine here because you need two quarterbacks. Right. And you got this Minshew kid that can play and lead your team just like Allen can in Carolina. And I think what we're finding now is we don't have to pay these players $20 million a year.
Right.
To play the quarterback position. And one of the reasons why the Patriots are so good is they got Brady in the sixth round.
Right.
So there's a lot of factors that go into building a team. How much you're paying one player. You know, you know, we spread the wealth around and we have depth at every position. You can't do that when you're doing the types of things that some of these players are doing to try to get paid and forgetting about the rest of their team.
Well, you know, you bring up a few interesting points, Bill, and I'm going to talk about one of those right now. And the one thing you know full well, being in the NFL, let alone every pro league imaginable, is you look for trends. And when I say the word trends, you are so right. Russell Wilson was a bargain in the third round. Dak Prescott, what came in the fourth round. We all know about Brady. Minshew will be fine. And as you start to get these signal callers that are drafted later, don't forget the fact that they have a chip on their shoulder anyways, and they're looking to prove a lot of people wrong. And as a result, they know they'll get it in their second contract anyways. So I think that will be the newest trend in the NFL, is maybe you need that big impact offensive line or pass rusher early on. You know, I remember a long time ago, I think when Reggie Bush came out, and I believe the Texans passed on him, didn't they? And I'm trying to remember who the Texans ended up getting, but it was a foundational type of player, you know, to give up the running back, you know. I'm drawing a blank, but you know where I'm going with this, okay? But you're right. You need those big monster defensive linemen that'll scare the daylights out of the quarterback, you know.
All right, kid, let me just say this to you real quickly.
Sure.
Okay. This is a really simple, and this is just me, and maybe it's the bias that I have being an offensive lineman. Okay, you've got to be able to rush the passer.
Right.
The 49ers have a championship defense, and they just proved it. They have 4 number 1 picks. All right, you know, they basically waited till Bosa got healthy while he was worth it. All right, they're building their team just like Tony Dungy built the Buccaneers. Okay, you win playing great defense. You have to be able to run the football, all right, and you've got to be able to have a quarterback that is not going to turn the ball over.
Right.
Okay, we have quarterback, look at the Carolina Panthers. They're playing good defense. They're running the football with McCaffrey, and they have a quarterback in there who is not turning the ball over and managing the game and being like a point guard, distributing. Garoppolo's the same way in the 49ers. They're not asking these quarterbacks to do too much. Right. Then you have a couple of teams out there, like the Arizona Cardinals, that have a young man that won the Heisman that's run around with his life. It's going to be interesting to see how they do against the Giants this weekend. Right. But the Seattle team took a conscious effort, all right, in paying a proven commodity a lot of money and got rid of some veterans, but they were able to find a good defense by drafting well with the lower rounds. So I think what you're seeing is a difference in philosophies like we talked last time.
Right.
But I also think that, you know, if you can find a quarterback that you don't have to spend a fortune on,
right,
all right, and you can basically spread the wealth around to have a deeper team. All right, and I think the 49ers are kind of showing a blueprint on how to build a football team, and isn't it interesting? Okay, and the guy that's building the football team actually has a lot of experience being an all-pro safety. All right, so some of the guys that have played in this league know what it takes to win championships, and they don't put all their eggs in one basket with one player, okay,
Yeah, John Lynch.
By drafting well.
John Lynch has certainly done a nice job. I want to go back to Tom Coughlin for a moment. Again, Tom Coughlin's the type of guy that's been there, done that, has the Super Bowls, and here's a guy that is a disciplinarian. And, again, he has his, Shad Khan puts a lot of, he's very loyal to people like that, and rightfully so. Tom has a pedigree. I had a chance to meet Coughlin during the draft, and I was intrigued by his old school personality, guys like you and I would. And so, in the end, though, do you think that Jalen Ramsey will get paid?
Sure he will.
Okay.
He'll get paid.
Okay.
He's that good, and he's going to the Rams, and they're going to have to pay him because of what they gave up for him.
That's true.
Simple as that. Now let me ask you a question. What happens if they don't pay him? And then you have to answer to the LA press. How could you give up all those a mortgage on a future and then not turn around and pay the guy?
Well, then that's true. You definitely look at it.
So they better win. But you have to appreciate about the Rams. They're all in. Right? They're not sitting there, saying we're going to rebuild or whatever. They're going for it.
Right.
All right. So on one hand, you got to respect that. On the other hand, you're kind of mortgaging your future. The guy who made out on all this is Marcus Peters. It's went to the Ravens.
Right.
Like I tell you before, they pick up solid players. They have chips on their shoulder where it's time to get paid, and they've been playing in the league for a half dozen years. Proven commodities. I was watching Marcus Peters talk on television the other day. This afternoon on television, and he's talking about how he's been dinged up. He was dinged up for a couple of weeks.
Right.
He's just now bringing his A game again to turn the guy loose.
Right. So do you feel that the Rams defense has peaked?
Well, it's not as good as it was last year. They're the first in the league as far as giving up the amount of pass coverage.
Well,
so what does that tell you? That front four isn't getting to the quarterback.
Well,
period. Even Dominic Sue, he's with the Buccaneers now, isn't he?
Yeah, in fact, I was.
Johnson's hurt. Talib's hurt. Johnson's hurt. So this is that's what I'm saying. They're a little desperate.
I was about
they've
funny.
Go out and they've got to make a move.
It's funny how you mentioned.
To shore up some holes in their defense.
It's funny how you mentioned that. I was thinking of Ndamukong Suh too, and they got him cheap for $10 million, and they still let him go. Go figure. That's unbelievable.
Well, that's how you manage the salaries these days.
Yeah, right. No, I'm with you there.
That's as big a part as anything.
Well, you mentioned earlier today, and I think this is something I want to talk about, that when you're talking about a guy like Ramsey playing corner to be part of the unit, why don't you go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit more?
As far as playing his position, I don't quite understand the question.
Well, the question is exactly what we talked about earlier, Bill. He's playing corner, which is just being part of the unit, and talk about the unit itself is what we talked about.
Yeah, you got to gel. You got to gel with the other four guys
right
back there. And it doesn't happen overnight, especially when you got a couple of rookies in there that haven't had as much experience as Talib and a couple of the other guys in there. So, you can get over a lot on your ability, but you also have to play with three other guys. You might get hung out to dry in a few plays. And, the American public isn't going to understand that. This is a team game. I know you got all the talent in the world when you come in, but the reality is, you need to get some reps with some guys, not just starting the following week the minute you're there. All right, so, we know he's a super talented guy, but you also have to play as a unit, and it takes a while for people to mesh and gel together.
Okay, there's only two other football points we're going to get into, and then we'll go on to baseball. I know I certainly like to talk about that anyways. You alluded to it earlier about the new type of athlete. To me, I really have a hard time dealing with the new type of athlete any more or less than I deal with a lot of youngsters that I'm working with right now that don't adhere to a lot of my old school values, Bill. To me, it just makes me nauseous.
I don't disagree with you, Scott. I just kind of understand having played the game, and you're happy for a player that can, maybe hold the team over a barrel and get paid. But I'm hoping what these guys will understand as they move forward that maybe there's a time and a place for that, and that you need to think a little bit more higher-ended stuff. Like one of the reasons for the show is that you don't want younger players coming up thinking that that's what it's all about.